Hello and welcome to the portion of this PD that covers week 5 of this program. Now in week 5, we're looking at the Impact Game Design course. Specifically, we'll take a look at the first part of that course, which a lot of the projects are actually offline and don't really require any special materials, but some special planning as to how your students will complete it, especially in a virtual setting. So like most other weeks here, it starts off with a 15-minute meeting and ends with a share out. So we have a 45-minute share out at the end. And the first project, the Intro to Game Design project, is definitely something you want to do synchronous with your students, but the projects in the middle here are something that can be done a bit more asynchronously. So let's dive into Mouse Create and get these projects into our playlist. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. Before populating the playlist with new projects, I'm actually going to remove the old projects. So to remove the old projects, I'm on my group page. I'm going to click Edit Playlist. I'm just going to remove all these projects from week 3 and 4 from my playlist because my students are ready for week 5. Excellent. Back to playlist. I can see I got an empty playlist, no projects, so I'm going to go to the projects page. And I'm looking for the Impact Game Design course. So on the left-hand side here of the project page, we see Impact Game Design. And Impact Game, in case you're wondering, this idea of an impact game is making a game with a purpose. So a game with a theme around doing something good for society. So I want you to think about that as we're going through some of these earlier projects, because you'll be wanting especially to think about how you can incorporate the community garden theme into creating games. Okay, so the projects we're going to want for week 5 are Intro to Game Design. So add this project to my playlist. Core Mechanics, Goals, Obstacles, and Chance. The Found Object game, I really love this one. And I believe that's it. Yes, so just these 4 projects. This will be week 5. And if I go back into the group page, I just want to make sure I did this right. I did just those 4 projects. And like I said, a lot of these are kind of offline type of activities. So if I go to Intro to Game Design, really great one to be done synchronously. Walk students through thinking about what is a game. There's a quick video here to explain what Intro to Game Design is all about. It has students go into, or you can actually show right on Mouse Create, and I recommend doing this through a screen share on a synchronous call. There's some games here that will either show up here in Mouse Create, or if your Wi-Fi connections like mine is currently, you could just click on this little link here that says click here, and this should show up in a moment. But if you struggle with Wi-Fi, as I do frequently, sometimes this preview doesn't always show up. So the game that we want to show here, I'm just having it appear in this other window, and it looks like I'm getting lucky too. It's showing up here as well. So just to let you know, sometimes it's worth waiting. Other times, sometimes I like to just click on this link here to have this game show up in another tab. But now that I have it here, just to kind of show you what this synchronous session would look like, basically you would click this green flag, and the hippo follows the mouse pointer until you win the game, or you can lose the game in some of these later steps. And it asks the students, is this a game? When I have this hippo following around the mouse pointer to get to the start, is this a game? And then it goes into further steps to ask, is this a game? Is this a game? Is this a game? And you can see how this one's a little bit different because it has a way to lose, and if I hit this rock. And so it's really thinking about what are the components of a game, what makes a game interesting, and just wanted to show you, you can also play it over here as well in this other tab that finally loaded for me. Just going to close it now. But a really great game, and it culminates in one of my favorite activities, which is it has students hack tic-tac-toe. So what do we mean by hack tic-tac-toe? And what we ask students to do on a synchronous call, and I think Zoom breakouts is actually a really great way to facilitate this. You have students in groups of 3 design a version of tic-tac-toe that can be played with 3 people instead of 2 people. So there are ways to do this virtually. It was designed originally to be done in person, but actually, just to show you how I would facilitate it, there's a website called draw.chat. That's just draw.chat. That's the whole URL. And it's actually a really great way for students to work on a whiteboard to try and virtually create this game with each other. So here's this whiteboard, and I can start drawing on it. And what you can do is have students go into Zoom breakout rooms in 3s. And actually Google Meets does breakout rooms now too, so you get an option with which platform you use. But I would ask students to go into these 3 breakout rooms. One of the student would open draw.chat. They get a whiteboard, and they can share the whiteboard clicking this little button here. It looks like a page with an arrow up. And they can share this URL with the other team members, and together or virtually they can map out a new version of tic-tac-toe. And so that is the Intro to Game Design course. There's, as always, a requirements section where students can upload a text response and an image of their game that they create, they review, and submit their work for you, the teacher, to take a look at it. And if I go back into my group now, from there, we talked in detail about Intro to Game Design, but core mechanics, goals, obstacles, and chance, found object game, these are things that can be done asynchronously, but I do love found object game. Ask students to actually go around their home or wherever setting they're in and start making a game. Now they know all these components of the game, start making a game out of the things around them. So now at this point in this professional development, you should be going through these 4 projects on your own to understand what they are trying to achieve, and start thinking about how you're going to introduce this to your students.